Hello, I'm Flavien Wynne. I'm a business development engineer at Vector, and I'm pleased to welcome you to this session where we're going to present you what's new in Squore 21. So for those of you who are not familiar with Squore, I will do just a quick overview to show you what it's all about. And then we will focus on the different areas of Squore where version 21 has added some new things in the UI, monitoring, remote activities, and the rest as well. So in one slide, what is Squore? Well, Squore is a process that is broken down into 4 steps. The first step is to gather the project data. Talking about project data, meaning all the requirements, the test, the source code, the tickets, and more. So once you have all this data, they are going to be aggregated, second step, and aggregated into a data network, which means that all the data speaks the same language now, okay? They are all in the same format. The third step is to do the computation and specifically the rating. So Squore is going to apply a rating model, analytics rating model, to rate each part of the data network. Finally, once the rating is done on everything, it's time to monitor. So Squore is going to provide monitoring features on the project. You're going to be able to filter it, to rate it, to check the ratings, the trend, generate some reports, etc. So if we take a look at the data side of Squore, the data started as raw data, meaning that it's coming from third-party tools outside Squore. So these tools have different file formats, the data origins. All of this is the first phase for us, and the data becomes organized in Squore when we aggregate it in data network. And it is really important. We introduce some concepts here. The artifact concept, everything is an artifact in Squore, from the requirement to the function in the source code, to the test, to the ticket, to the test suite, etc. All of these are artifacts. And we attach metrics and findings on these artifacts. So a metric can be a numerical or a textual value. And a finding, for example, could be a rule violation on a specific line of a specific function. So this is what the second step is about for the data. Third step, the data is rated now, and Squore, to do that, is going to compute some indicators. Another important concept of Squore, and these indicators are defined in the model. Then, last step, the data becomes actionable, meaning that we are going to maybe check some quality gates, perform a review, generate a report, among other things. And there are benefits to using Squore at each one of these steps. The first benefit is that since Squore knows where the data is now, it knows where what tools are being used, it is all streamlined. You don't have to tell Squore again where the data is. Squore knows where the data is. And the second step, Squore knows what to do with the data, how to extract it. And this is a time-saving step, really, because Squore is going to automatically extract the data and aggregate it. And of course, since it is all automated, there is no user interaction, so no human error at this step. Next, Squore is going to do the rating. So all these indicators are going to be computed. And which is very important here is that in Squore, a rating, an indicator, is clearly displayed, meaning that you know how it's computed, you know on what object it is applied, and you can share this knowledge with all the different users connected to Squore. So this is really the base for the trust in the quality rating, because once you know how a rating is computed and how and where to find it, and that it is computed regularly, you can use it in your process. And this is really the stepping stone for the last step, because in the last step, once the quality, the trust is in the quality makes it part of your process, this is how you can reach better maturity. So to finalize this presentation of overview, this is what the teams are going to deal with. Okay, teams are dealing with the tickets, with the code, the standards. All of this is going to be fed to Squore, and this is produced or handled by the teams. And on the other hand, on the right here, Squore is going to provide you with a monitoring solution. It can be web-based, which is fully interactive and graphical, and user-based, you connect to it, and can also be headless, meaning that we are going to be able to access everything that Squore produced, from the indicators to the measures to the charts in the dashboard, using the Squore REST API. And of course, Squore is compatible with continuous integration frameworks. So here we're going to have additional benefits, but I'm not going to explain you what continuous integration is good for. You already know, I'm sure. So let's focus on what is new in Squore, and let's focus with what is visible directly in the UI. So we have worked quite a lot in the UI to make sure it is more modern and looks prettier, but also importantly that the data is easier to read and to understand. So we have here on the left before Squore 21 and on the right with Squore 21. So before we had this kind of representation, and on the right, this is what it has become now. So in our opinion, it's easier to understand what's going on and also prettier. So that was one of the big objectives of this overhaul of the UI, but that was not everything we did. We also simplified some of the menus, which were text-based. Some of them are now icon-based, which is kind of fun to use now. And this is a good example also of how the data has evolved. So on the left, you have the data, same data on the right. We have added new ways to make sure you understand at one glance what's happening on the data you are being shown. And this is really a good example of this. And I'd finish with that. This is the same at the bottom here. This is the same rating, actually, but there's a big difference because the one on the right in Squore 21, we have simplified this rating to only the indicators that really make sense for the current the current context. So it's a kind of a way of declutter a little the UI. This is something we did also in Squore 21. Still for the UI, we have introduced a new view called the detailed view. So this one has been added to replace some of the annoying pop-ups we had in Squore, and it is going to be visible when you handle the artifacts, the findings, action items, and forms. So as you can see, we have tried to use this view as much as possible and this is how what it looks like. So this view contains first a top view here, where you have in this banner the object context. So you know quickly where you are, and you can click on different parts of this banner to go to the artifact, etc. Then there's a part where you can actually interact, and here in this example, this is a user input here, and also we are showing the history below. We already had the history in Squore 20, but maybe it was not as easy to navigate through. Now it is. It's more user-friendly on this history track. And then some artifacts can be used, require some additional context. And that's what we have here in this example. We have some artifact, which is a source code artifacts. And what we did here is that we added a summarized view of the source code, but you can expand it, of course, if you want to have more details. What's next? Yeah. So we have done quite a lot of work also on the findings page. So this page is quite important, and it's quite different than what you are used to if you are used to Squore 20. So this findings view page, let's take a look at what's around the page first. So on the top, you have this overview banner. So this is what it looks like. So this is where you are going to have a summary of all the findings below. So we are counting the findings by status, by trend, or breaking them down by categories. So this is really good to have at one glance what is below, what is displayed below. And then on the left, of the page, you have the filters pane. So in this pane, in this panel, we have regrouped all the different filters that are going to help you focus on the findings you really want to work on. And we are good. These filters can be related to static attributes, to variable attributes, but also we have added something new in Squore 21, which is the unlisted rows. So in Squore, the findings come from the outside, okay? They come from third-party tool, from Misc checkers, for example, and these rules are going to be displayed in Squore. They are going to be displayed, these rules violations, if the rules are part of the rule set. If they are not part of the rule set, they are not displayed. That's Squore 20. From now on, we can also show these rules that don't belong to the rule set. And this is pretty handy because if you want to maybe fine-tune your model, this is a good way within Squore to quickly see what is being used and what is not being part of the rule set, and that could eventually be part of the rule set if need be. So we have looked at what's surrounding the page. Now let's look at the center. The interesting part here are all the findings. So we have introduced in Squore the start review action. So let's take a look at that. If you look at the center part, you have all the findings, okay? All the findings which have been filtered, as I just said before. So with all these rule violations, you can now click on the Start Review button, and this one will help you cycle through all the violations one by one and take action. So that's one way to do the review. But then sometimes you want to focus on one particular rule. So if you click on one rule, it is going to be expanded like this in the same page. And then focusing on this rule, you can see, okay, it has 5 violations. 3 of them are on this particular function, 2 other on this other function. So that's how it is displayed. From here, you have 3 possibilities. First, if you click on the rule itself, you are going to be able to start the review on all of the violations of this rule. So the 5 findings are going to be cycled through, okay? If you want to review one particular artifact, so you click on one of the functions here, you are going to be able to review the 3 associated violations, okay? And you guessed it, if you click on one of the findings alone, you will be able to take action on this particular finding. And this action, this review action, can be of 2 kinds. You can either confirm a finding, which means, okay, it is a real problem, teams are going to work on it, or you can relax it. And relax finding means this finding is not is a false positive, for example, or it's related to some legacy code, so I'm going to ignore it. Several different reasons, but each time you will have to give a justification. It's mandatory. So this whole mechanism is for the findings, but also we have adapted this mechanism to the action items page, which you can review using the same kind of philosophy. So if we take a look at Squore, let's quickly see. This is Squore 21, where you can see some findings in the center here. On the top part, you can see the banner where you can see the different counting. Okay, I have 251 findings, and as I told you, well, I can easily and quickly narrow down to only the blocking and critical and only the new findings. And if I click here on the Start Review, I can cycle through with this next button through all of the findings, okay, and take action if necessary. So this is really easy and quick. You can deselect, you can play with the filter, and it's really easy to do this review mechanism now. In the monitoring part, so what have we added? We have added in Squore 21 the support for branches. So which means that in Squore, you're going to have natively support of, you can show, create, navigate through and branch from within Squore your projects. You can do some comparison, you can do some carryover or conditional merging of the findings, relaxations, and the user reviews. And this is more under the hood, but the way we have done that is that we have optimized the way data is stored in Squore, and we are, instead of copying, of course, left and right the data, we are using a lot of references to handle these branches in Squore. So obviously you are going in Squore 21 to see appear some new menus, some new pages for branch creation, obviously. When you are managing a project, you are going to see these new branch items appear in the menus. This is the rule justification, violation justification panel, where you can decide to propagate a justification to all branches, or some branches, or no branches at all. Why not? And this is what it looks like in Squore. This is a project called Orion. It has this specific icon here, meaning that it is branched. And you have 3 branches, dev, main, and patch. So what happened in Squore is that we started with the main branch. Okay, these are the major releases, 1.0.0 to 4. And then we branched from version 2. And so what to create the dev branch. So what happened is that in the dev branch view, you can see that the version 1 and 2, which don't belong to the dev, are shown nonetheless, but they are grayed out to visualize that they are not part of the branch they appeared before, and the rest is not grayed out. And the process can be run again, of course. You can create another branch from 2.2.0 to create a patch a branch, which is the case here. And once again, you have grayed out all the versions that come before, and not grayed out the new versions which are related to this particular branch. Another thing about the monitoring in Squore 21 is that we expanded the rule concept by allowing the findings to be generated from the model. So I'm going just to explain what we had before, what we have now. So before Squore 21, and still in Squore 21, we have this concept of standard rule. We still have it. So how it works, I already explained a little, is that you have some rules listed in Squore. Okay, they are in the rule set. So this is all the rules you are prepared to deal with. And they can be tailored, these rule sets, because some projects maybe need some rules to be disabled or to be upgraded or downgraded in terms of criticality. It can happen. So this is the definition part. And then the violations come from outside Squore. They come from a Misc checker, a CRT checker, any checker, for example, for source code. They're going to inject these rule violations in Squore. Okay. Now, we have this computed rule concept from Squore 21. So what didn't change is that these rules still are defined in the Squore model, so they are part in the definition, in the rule set, and they can be tailored as well. The new thing is that these rules don't come from the outside. They are computed by Squore, by the Squore model. And this computation can be based on anything in the accessible in Squore, meaning the artifacts, the measures, the indicators, everything can trigger these rule violations. So let's take a look at one example. So let's apply the rule checking mechanism to tickets. Okay, usually it's more source code or design maybe, but here let's do it on tickets. And the example is, I want a rule violation when a bug is missing the expected section in its description. So this is what it looks like. Let's suppose we have a ticket here from Jira, for example. It has a description, it has a verification field, and suppose again that the expected is missing from here and the other one is empty. So that's what it looks like in Squore. That's what you have on the right is the actual rule, and the white boxes are describing what's happening on the right. So we are focusing on bugs and looking for the description and verification fields. And if we don't find the expected, then we raise a rule violation. And that's what happens here in our example. So we have in the findings page a new violation, missing expected behavior, and we point to the particular ticket. So this is really a new feature in Squore and 21, and which is interesting because you are going to be able to check the quality of the ticket process, okay, the change management process. And so this is just an example, but I will show you in Squore what it means. It's always good to see it. Let's take a look here at this particular project. So I have some tickets here, and you can see the different rule violations at ticket level. So there is a missing expected behavior you had before, but some others as well. They're going to participate to showing you how good or bad your ticket management is. And if I take a look at one of them, okay, I click on one ticket here, which is on which the rule is violated. You can start the review, but you can also directly go back to Jira. And indeed, it is a Jira ticket, it's mine, and it is not approved. So this is really interesting. And if you go into the dashboard, you have this chart where you can see all the different rules. Okay, the columns are the rules and the tickets, and you know what tickets are going good or not so good. So let's now switch to the remote part of using Squore. So we have introduced in Squore 21 the Squore agent. So this is going in arriving in replacement of the old Squore CLI, and it's really easier to use and more user-friendly now. You can install it directly from Squore. So there is a download Squore agent link now in the Squore UI, where you can directly, as I said, download it. It is fully documented. We give you some examples on how to use it. And the important thing to remember about the Squore agent is that it is fully synchronized with the server, meaning that each time you run it, you are sure that you are working with the proper version, with the proper Squore configuration as well. This is all synchronized now automatically. You can, of course, use the creation and update activities as before, but also now you can check the model, generate some project statistics, so it is more powerful than the usual Squore CLI. Speaking about remote activities, the continuous integration, of course. So we have pushed one step further how Squore can be used in a continuous integration. So here we have a typical pipeline with some tools being used, then Squore, and let's see what we can do now. So Squore is being used as before. You could already do that in Squore 20, and Squore is run using the Squore agent, and the command line to launch this Squore agent is automatically generated within the UI if you need to. So it's more user friendly here to generate this step in the pipeline. And then you have two other steps. So the quality gates is a way to check what has been rated. Okay, so we are doing that using the Squore highlights, which is a well-known feature of Squore. But also now you can fully use the Squore REST API to go further even. So checking the quality gates can be as complex as you need now. And then another step, additional step in the pipeline, which is handled by Squore as well, which is the report generation. So also, there is a feature in Squore called export, which can be invoked from this step, but we can also invoke the whole power of the REST API, and as for the quality gate, have it as configured as you need. I'm just giving you a small example here of how precise a quality gate could be. This is a kind of quality gate that is going to focus on several columns here, and has several layers. But the following presentation will dive a little deeper into that. So I'm not going to explain it fully. So almost at the end now. So what else is there in Squore? So in the analytics part, we have improved connection with vector tools. So we have even more. We regularly add more vector tools to the list of connectors we have. So as of today, we have the Canoe, Vita Studio, VectorCast, Axivian tools connected to Squore. We have enhanced traceability links exploration, so we can do more interesting things with these links. The technical depth also has been added a new kind of technical depth, the relocated one, which is linked to the code that Squore detected as being moved from one part of the code to the other. Also, we have it's easier now to identify what part of the code has not been successfully passed. In the UI, some other features I didn't mention before, which is a conditional display. You can decide that some dashboards, some highlights might not be shown all the time. So this is possible now. Also, the capitalization page has been fully remade. It's nicer and quicker now. And the descriptions are dynamic. Up to now, the charts had static descriptions. Now they can be they can depend on some computation, on some metrics, which makes them more relevant to the data being shown. And this concept also is present now in the template-based emails generated by Squore automatically, which are dynamic. In the dev part, we have introduced a brand new Groovy toolkit, fully documented, which makes data provider development much easier now. And the REST API, we regularly add new features. And in Squore 21, there are some filters, findings, relaxation in bulk exports as well. In the admin part, we have enhanced the LDAP integration a little further, and also added a notification banner, which allows the Squore administrator to do something like this. Okay, in Squore, you would have a banner at the top, which prevents which notifies the user of something new. And this is my last slide. So this is the kind of notification you would see. So that's the end for me. Remember that you can go to Vector website to know more about Squore and Squore 21. And if you want to try Squore 21, well, it is available as a trial also.